I bought some unequal angle, 75 by 50mm. This will run horizontally around the base of the stand, and I'll attach some casters to it for the occasional workshop relocation. I chose unequal angle since it will be quite rigid, and I can put wooden planks in it later for a lower shelf. I'm now putting on the unequal angle, and that's what the wheels are going to mount onto. To give it a consistent height between the frame and the unequal, I've just put it on these two little wooden chocks, and to keep the outside surface flush I've just clamped on another bit of timber along there. So the unequal just pushes up against the timber, keeps it nice and square for us. Square enough. Anyway, I'll get on with welding that. The unequal angle is 5mm thick, which is at the rated limit for my welder. The welder copes okay with it. One common issue with welding is inside corners. The molten metal doesn't flow into the joint as easily as flat or outside welds. If I did this project again from scratch, I'd consider making a fixture to hold everything at 45 degrees to help the metal flow deeper into the joint. We're getting near the end of the build. I want to fill the legs up with sand. Got the scaffold tubing in there, just need to make some caps for that part there, just to hold the sand in. In an earlier video you may have seen me shaving down these. The idea was a couple of them per leg with the whole board out. Weld that up, that'll hold all the sand in. But that's a fair bit of fiddling around, and since then I've bought the unequal angle for doing these extra braces in here. So I'm going to take the 75mm section of that, and that'll make a nice cap. And that's a good 5mm thick rather than the 3mm. And the 50mm part of it, I'm going to just try and somehow slice that off, and we'll use that to extend the width of the leg holding unequal angle there. Just because the dollies that I bought, the casters, it's got a nice big mounting base on them. Here it is, that's the wheels, 4 of them. But the mounting base is just a bit wider than the 75, it's about 100 wide. So with the extra 50mm offcut from there, we'll weld that onto our 75 that we've got on the frame. That'll give us enough width so that we can mount the caster quite comfortably. So we'll get on to separating the unequal angle into 2 bits of flat. In an earlier video you saw me cutting 50mm holes with a boring head. That took a long time, since changing the hole size is a stop-start process. I'm going to cut the leg caps out using the mill in a temporary CNC setup. I designed a small program on Kanban which cuts out 2 leg caps per piece of stock. There's a bit of reclamping to do, but it seems to work fine. I don't have a coolant system for my mill, since it can be a messy process. I'm using a paintbrush and WD-40 to keep the cutter lubricated, but you can see it evaporate from the heat. I prefer to flood cool the cutter to avoid potential combustion. The new stand design will allow me to add a flood coolant system for future work, without making a mess everywhere. Here's my power hacksaw at work. The leg heights are shorter than a standard screwjack length, so what I've done is chopped the screwjacks. You can see they've got these little marks in the thread to stop the little spinny part spinning right off. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got the same amount of safety margin there. I'll just put a few welds here just to make sure that that amount is always retained inside the pipe. Only the outside of the unequal angle is square, so that's why I'm lining up this little part here with the outside surface, just trying to keep that nice and flush. That's where our little caster wheels will be bolted onto. My next challenge is getting 50 odd kilos of sand through an M12 nut. Why did I pick an M12? Well, I wanted a bolt thread where the thread goes right up to the hex part of the bolt so that I could wind it in nice and flush when bunging up the frame. And this was the largest bolt that I could find where the threads go all the way to the nut. So there's my challenge, 50 kilos of sand through an M12. I'm removing the zinc from all the flats on the nut so that it will weld better. The locking pliers help to keep my fingers away from the grinding wheel. These things are always easier with gravity on your side, so I flipped it up on its end and finished the welding off there. It's a bit messy, but it's only a bung for keeping sand inside the frame, so it will do. I welded it up with the bolt inside. It just stops any welds from damaging the threads. Anyway, I'll put the bolt back in, give it a spray, and then we'll fill it up. Here we go. We'll use a clean bolt since the one that I used when welding up and painting is a bit dirty. It'd be nice just to have a clean bolt on there. That'll do. These split washers say that they're, what are they supposed to be? Suitable for 3/8 as well as M10, but they don't seem to be slipping onto the M10 bolts here nice at all. So I think that's just a matter of lazy sale. I'm going to pass off some Imperial split washers as metric as well. There we go. Pretty happy with that.